Richard Walker entered slowly, pushing his own wheelchair, with the firm gaze of someone who had already faced more battles than anyone there could possibly imagine. The shiny floor of the dealership reflected bright lights, flawless cars, and rehearsed smiles. But when he crossed the door, something changed. It wasn't said out loud, but it was in the air. The salespeople slowed down, exchanged subtle glances, and some simply looked away, as if that man wasn't a customer, but a nuisance. He moved calmly between the cars, observing every detail with almost technical attention, running his hand over the bodywork like someone who knew it deeply, not as a curious person, but as a silent expert. He stopped in front of a specific model, slightly tilted his head, analyzing lines, finish, proportion, until the manager, Daniel Brooks, appeared beside him. Well-dressed, confident posture, a smile filled with superiority. Without even asking his name, without offering genuine help, he dropped a sentence that seemed small, but carried years of hidden prejudice. "Sir, with all due respect, maybe you don't understand much about cars. I can call someone to explain it better to you." Time seemed to stop. It wasn't just about cars. It was about what Richard represented in his eyes. Someone limited, incapable, invisible. Richard slowly raised his gaze. There was no explosive anger, no argument. Just a deep, heavy silence that said more than any response ever could. He didn't react. Not at that moment. He just looked at Daniel for a few seconds, then looked around, as if engraving every detail of that place into his memory. Not out of admiration, but because that scene had just turned into something he would never forget. Then he turned his chair and left, like someone carrying yet another invisible scar. But this time, unlike all the others, that one wouldn't just hurt. That one would change everything. What no one there knew is that this wasn't the first time Richard Walker had been reduced to that. Years earlier, life had already tried to knock him down in every possible way. A brutal accident had taken his movement, but it never managed to touch what truly mattered. His mind, his determination, and his passion for cars. Since he was young, Richard used to take engines apart, understand systems, study every detail as if it were more than just a hobby. It was identity. But after the accident, the world began to look at him differently. Not as someone who knew, but as someone who needed help. And on that day, in that dealership, all of that came back with full force. But this time, it was different, because something inside him changed. That sentence didn't echo like pain. It became a trigger, turning point. He returned home in silence, but his mind was moving at full speed. That humiliation wouldn't be forgotten. It would be used. In the following days, he began to map out a plan. Small at first, almost invisible. Simple purchases, discreet resales, connections built through persistence. No one believed. Some laughed. Others said it was a waste of time. But he kept going. Every no became fuel. Every closed door only confirmed that he was on the right path. He studied while others slept, analyzed the market with precision, understood customer behavior, trends, opportunities. He didn't just want to sell cars. He wanted to prove something much bigger. Years passed, and what was small began to grow. What was ignored began to attract attention. Until one day, he was no longer trying to enter the market. He was already part of it. And more than that, he was shaping it. That's how Walker Motors dealership was born. Not with immediate luxury, not with a grand structure, but with purpose. Every detail of that place carried a philosophy. There, no one would be judged by appearance, age, physical condition, or any limitation that the world insists on seeing first. There, respect came before the sale. And that made all the difference. Customers began to notice. The service was different. The way people were treated was different. The experience was different. And little by little, the name Walker Motors began to spread. It grew. It strengthened. It became a reference. Decades passed. 37 years. 37 years of history built on something that started with a single sentence filled with contempt. And the most impressive part? The same type of person who once doubted now walks through the door as a customer. Some without knowing who is behind it all. Others even knowing. but never admitting it. Because the world turns in ways no one can control. And one day, without warning, the past meets the present. They say Daniel Brooks, now older, walked into that dealership years later. He didn't recognize Richard immediately, but he was recognized. And this time, there was no humiliation, no bitter response, no revenge. Only professionalism, respect, and silence. Because some answers don't need to be spoken. They need to be lived. And now I ask you, how many times has someone underestimated you without knowing your story? How many times have they tried to define how far you could go? Maybe today isn't the day of the answer, but it can be the beginning of it. So take this story, keep it, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and follow the channel. Because sometimes, all someone needs is to turn a moment of contempt into a legacy impossible to ignore.